Blessings on blessings. This is like, what interview of today? Fourth interview.
Fourth interview today.
But look, it's a blessing still. Welcome back, everybody, to another series of Talk to a Brother. No egos.
Sorry, bro.
Bro, we've done this too many times.
I was literally my own world just then, so sorry. No egos,
No judgment.
Break bread and prosper.
Here we go. And we're doing this. Don't worry, Aaron, we're going to get you into this as well. We've got, this is the series of What the COVID. Thank you for the support from Asian Resource Centre. And I'm Coach Chris Yampower.
I'm Thomas Scannell, and today we are lucky to have Mr.
Aaron Dale from Raising Boys to Men. Thank you for having me, boys.
Thank you for coming on.
Looking forward to this one.
Bro, look, I think last time I saw Aaron,
His beard was a bit short.
his beard was a bit short.
He didn't have that
His
beard.
top wasn't as tight.
Bro, he's a sweet boy now, isn't it? Sweet boy.
I'm doing what I can.
Nah, but you're doing an amazing job with what you're doing. How are you, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm good. The platform's really taken off. So that the opportunities are coming, and I feel like I'm everywhere at the moment. So, like my time, it's one of them things you don't realize that you want to be busy, but then when you become busy, you're like, all right, this is it's a bit much.
Bro, sometimes it's not having the process. You want to be busy, but we don't have the processes in place to actually reflect what busy is, innit? Like,
Yeah.
So much. But okay, how do I liaise? I think me and you were talking the other day, like maybe I need someone to just answer my emails for me to take that.
The simple things, isn't it?
Yeah.
That PA.
Yeah, just something simple, man. Because the processes are more important than actually being busy. But we don't know we need a process until we get to that point.
Can we just address Chris's second croissant? Can we just address that?
I address you.
And it's the only time he didn't ask if anyone wanted anything to eat.
He's listening to you. He's not even bothering you.
One, it's a pan of chocolate.
By the same,
Two, I've done offered you guys some of like the treats and goods several times.
I want the food.
No.
I want the real food.
The food's right there, Caribbean, bro.
that's me.
I said you guys already.
Chris brought a platter. Chris brought a platter for one.
Bro,
Yeah.
I saw a platter on the menu and I ordered platter thinking it was going to be a big thing and
Aaron
Well, the
thought
food's
he was
beautiful,
going
man.
home with takeaway stuff.
It's
and
beautiful.
that, but-
No, I'm going home with
Still
takeaway
going home
stuff.
with takeaway.
Still going home with takeaway stuff. and that.
But Aaron, let's get straight to the point, right?
Talk
So
to me.
this is what the COVID, okay? First question of the day is the same question we've asked everybody. Have you been vaccinated, bro? Don't have to answer it.
Oh, no, straight. No.
Nah, straight
no.
No.
I think the interview's done.
No.
Nah.
Does that, you two have?
Nah.
Okay.
No, not in the slightest. I'm not resilient to it, though. I'm not saying I wouldn't take it.
Not anti-vax. We're
And,
not
I'm not
anti-vaxxers.
anti-vax at all. I just have chosen through my life choice not to take it. And if people want to, is there a reason for being hesitant from your behalf?
I feel like my body's equipped to fight it as it is. So it's kind of like, why am I taking something that I don't necessarily need? If I can manage that already, why am I taking something to give me the help to manage it? It doesn't.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm potentially giving myself COVID by taking the vaccine, which
Technically
doesn't.
you are.
Yeah,
That's the whole
point. You're given the infection in order to fight
to
it.
build up the immunity and whatnot.
Yeah.
But you actually don't need it because you're in a good age range, you're a healthy young man.
I've had it as well.
Yeah,
What's
you
the
had
good
it
age
well.
range?
Like I caught, for me,
5, I think.
it came, like COVID was announced in was it like March
March
February 2020?
Yeah.
So December 2019, I was mad ill.
Yeah,
Like,
none of us were.
yeah.
Remember that?
2019 December, I had aches like I never knew. And I kept on going back to the doctor saying, look, something's wrong. And they was like, no, it's just the flu. Don't worry about
It's
it.
been announced, didn't it?
Then it was announced and I was like, I swear I must have had that. But then about 4 months ago, this year, I actually got ill again, wiped again, same symptoms as before. This time I tested myself and it was COVID. So I was like, this must have been what I had before because it felt the same. So
How long ago?
that was about 4 months ago. 3 months. No, but even that in itself, I'm like, okay, if I caught it 3 months ago, I'm good for at least another.
I think it's 6 months in it with after you've had it. You're
Supposedly,
pretty cool,
yeah.
But we never know. But like you said, you've had it twice. Even though it's wiped you, you're physically able and your body's able to fight it. So why would you still go through a vaccination?
Yeah, like to me that doesn't I feel like I can do without it. But I understand people, especially the elderly, being a bit more mindful of, you know what, it's something I need to get done. And maybe for business purposes or traveling. I don't know if you can get into America at the moment.
I don't think you still
There's
can.
certain countries that you can't go
You
to.
still can't, yeah.
I don't think you can. I think Thailand and them places like Malaysia and that are also part of it. But I do believe if that's what they want, then it's up to them, and it's up to us to decide whether we want it or not.
Well, look, Aaron, just to relate it back to what we're saying, Aaron does a lot of work now with co-parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, co-parenting guru.
It's becoming that, yeah. It's becoming that, yeah.
And there's already, like, a lot of the work that you do, it gears around, like, mental health. It gears around relationships and conversations and actually understanding and being open to listen and learn from each other. And there's so much hesitancy and there's so much taboos and stigmas within our communities already as it is, just in our households. Adding vaccines and COVID and lockdown into that mix, what have you seen yourself and like the platform that you've been in?
It's more to debate, isn't it? Especially with, like, within a co-parenting situation, like, I always say it's not just your household you've got to think about, it's your child's other household. And then their family's connected. So my son, my youngest, has a stepdad. So the dynamic was, in that household, there was my son, his mum, and the stepdad. But then the stepdad's daughter was coming from another house at times. And then I've got an eldest who was coming from his mum's house, who lived with a man who had kids as well. So there was like X amount of families connected to us. And it was one of them things where if I was heavily like, no, we need to be vaccinated, that would have then been a crazy dynamic because there's like 5 other who's...
Wow. And you'd actually, that would have been, like you said, a weird dynamic, because if anyone in the protocol has put a stop to it, you're actually changing the dynamic potentially in 5 different households.
Yeah.
That's a mad dynamic to be in. So lucky enough, because in my house, as everyone knows, like I had no thing for COVID, but I didn't see my daughter for 6-7 months. Literally, Selena dominates my house. I know people think I do what I want to do, but Selena tells me what to do. Like, not scared to admit it either. But so she said, no one. But not only that, but like you said,
What, no one to come in?
no one from outside was allowed in. Like, I could go out and say hello to Chris. My brother never come round. Like, the closest we got to my brother was his window, knocked on the window, happy birthday, here's your cake. Our boys, Tyrese and Trey, they couldn't go and see their dad. So it was literally, Selena had her house on lockdown, wanted her to see her mum, auntie, whatever. Yeah. So if that was the same situation, we live in the opposite situation. Our house is on smash. Nah, you leave the house, you don't come back.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. If you don't, like, for me, I didn't see my kids for probably... I don't think it was nowhere near that length of time. I think it might have been like 2-3 months. Yeah. But that was heartbreaking.
Yeah,
man.
bro.
Just
hearing that.
Yeah, just feeling like, you know what, I can't actually. I remember going to see Tyler. It was Easter. It was Easter time. So I went and I left Easter eggs at the door, and he opened the door, but I had to keep
I think I remember seeing that.
Yeah, I put a video up and I kept a distance, and it's like I'm in front of my child, but I can't give him a hug. Like, what was that, bro? Is that fear? Because that's your own child, flesh and blood. And I relate, because I did the same with my parents. When we went to the parents, and then literally my mum was stood there, my dad was done. I can't hug.
But isn't it fear and respect?
It's a question.
Yeah, no, that's
You know what the dynamic was as well? Was Tyler's mum was pregnant at the time as well. Yeah. So even more, if like I could be selfish and give my son a hug, but if there was anything passed over,
you're responsible now. That's on you.
So it's respecting that. You know what? That's how that family are at the moment, and his mum's pregnant. There's more risks involved.
We're so wild that we lived through that. Even thinking about it, 2 years ago today, could we have imagined being able to be sat here right now having this kind of conversation? I
would have been anyway.
Well, we were. Just so you know, we were. Like, we were doing deliveries and whatnot.
It wouldn't have made no difference.
To be fair, like rebels. But I mean, like, but where society was then, and the whole pressure that was put on to literally take the vaccine. Well, pressures that were applied in different places in a sense of if you wanted to get back to normal, if you wanted to get onto public transport, if you wanted to go back to work, if you wanted to, live a normal life, quote unquote normal.
Did you find something peaceful about it all though?
As a
Because
lockdown.
I did.
Yeah, big time.
Every second.
Yeah, big time.
Like there's an element of like, it's so manic out there now.
Stop, yeah.
And knowing that at once, it was just, even going for walks, just going for walks and like silly little things like I could hear the birds. I couldn't hear cars. I could just hear the birds. And it just felt so much more peaceful.
No airplanes, isn't it? Yeah. So yes, there was. So a lot of people, sometimes you have to go through hell to get to heaven. And lockdown to a degree was a lot of people's hells, not only because once again they're facing a version of themselves that they have potentially tried to escape, they're facing relationships, and we'll say this on the last podcast as well, they're now being at home with partners that they necessarily don't want to be with. They have to ask and answer questions that they've used their jobs or normal life to escape from. So now it's having
Put the
those
reality in
uncomfortables.
your face.
Exactly, reality. So it's a case of, look, this is either going to work or it's not work. This is what we could do to make it work. Or actually, you know what? This is not working. And this is an opportunity to press reset and actually start going on that journey of self-discovery, self-mastery, and in like our case, inner peace or self. And yes, that's the peaceful side that we did. Like me and our family, apart from doing the food bank delivery stuff that we were doing, to the vulnerable and that, we were park hunting. We were literally finding the amount of parks that we found over lockdown. How many places did we cycle to? Bro? From like.
I remember seeing those posts.
Like the way we saw London over lockdown was just different. And then,
but you know what? It gave you a sense as well of like, I know you said about hell to get to heaven, but it's the sense of like, it made you appreciate not that we was in heaven, but the beautifulness of what we actually had, in the sense of like being able to see each other, being able to get on like the bus, being able to, I don't know, go and sit down in the restaurant.
Take for granted.
When those things were taken away, it's like I didn't realize how much I actually appreciated them because we became spoiled.
Yeah.
If you really think about the country we live in, we're very spoiled.
We're privileged. True. And you know what, it's crazy we go into that, and it almost changes the conversation about COVID. We live in a country or a society that is so privileged, we forget where we are. Like, it's weird to say it because I know I am, but the only reason we have so many choices in the world right now or in our society is because we are privileged and we can speak from a privileged state. No way. Like, when was the last time you was hungry? Apart from this Chris buys.
Apart from now,
Chris buys food, you're going to be starving.
My fast ended at midday, and I have just eaten, just like you guys are trying with this whole food.
Bro, you don't know what you're
Darren,
eating.
these guys are going on about this, your food, Carry vegan, I'm shouting out right now. Yeah. But on the real, you're right in regards to privilege. But at the same time, I'm not vegan, pescatarian for now, moving to plant-based, and then going to go breatharian, but that's another conversation.
Talking to Chris, yeah? I was talking to...
I thought you were talking to,
that's what I'm saying.
She asked Rax, but
Yeah.
I answered
You answered.
I
was going to go for you.
I'm glad
wasn't
you
sure if he was answering on his behalf. Like, I was like, oh, so my guy's pescatarian, yeah? I was like, all right.
He just said he's bossed up the okra soup, innit? He just
was
said...
looking at him when
he's
she asked him.
busting the okra soup.
Where's Chris going with this guy?
But on the point that you're saying about, privilege and the lockdown being an opportunity to sort of reflect.
They killed it.
I'm thinking of the last joke. I'm trying not to laugh.
Lost his
Yeah.
I'm literally trying not to laugh. But yeah, it is privilege that we've gone through. But at the same time, it's an opportunity to see that maybe we had our values in the wrong place. A lot of the things that you're saying was like going out to restaurants, going out partying, a lot of people that couldn't go out binge, like drinking or whatnot, and a lot of the things that we were doing is in a case of actually were our morals aligned in the wrong place? Were we actually prioritizing, or were we actually subscribing to the wrong versions of life?
You know, it weren't even that I was doing those things.
Yeah.
It was more for me realizing I don't even have the option to do them. So it weren't like I was going to restaurants all the time. I hardly go out to eat, but it was just feeling like I can't just go to Nando's. I can't just go cinema with my kids. The simple little things I'm unable to do if I wanted to. So it removed the choice. We no longer have choice. It's one way.
But did we have a choice in the first place? Or is that an illusion?
No, I think we've got many choices.
Yeah, I think we've got a choice. I think you could choose to go to the restaurant or not. You just become accustomed to doing a certain thing, and when it gets taken away, you think it's your right to eat at a restaurant. You don't realise that it's not a right to eat at a restaurant. That's a privilege that you have. And I think I did literally just flicked a little switch in my head about this mental health stuff. All this mental health, disclaimer, I'm not a mental health expert.
Yeah. It's opinion.
Yes, this is an opinion. All this mental health we're going through, is this a subject because we're not getting as many privileges as we want to? So I'm depressed because I don't have a Ferrari. Bruv, you don't deserve a Ferrari. I'm depressed because I can't eat at STK every month.
Or is that a buzzword now? The whole depressed, anxiety, or any symptoms that people are talking about?
It could be.
I think they're genuinely there. I do think
it's there. Don't get twisted.
I do think.
And that was the question.
Comparison is the thief of joy, right?
Yeah.
And I think we live in a world where, like, I just remember when I used to be in school, the only people I would really compare myself to was like, this kid's got the new, I don't know, Sega Mega Drive. Like, I want to get it. Now you're comparing yourself to people in America, people in different parts of the country. Like, relationships are breaking down because it looks like there's so many more people available. So that opportunity of having more choice, I think over consumes us. Like, I struggle. I don't know about you lot. I will go on Netflix and get stressed because I'm flicking through and I'm like, I don't even know what to watch.
Bro,
you know,
it's too much choice.
Yeah. Go on YouTube.
Way too much
Flicking through YouTube, put one video on, 2 seconds later.
2 seconds later, you're starting another video.
We've
Like.
got so many options.
But that's also, I think everything's a test, bro. And that's about discipline. I think, and you're right, I actually use Netflix and YouTube, same as Instagram, as platforms for myself to apply my own discipline. If it comes to a point where, and I get poked from like ancestors, this is like going live on camera as well, so I'm gonna get sections soon. But I feel literally get poked from ancestors if I'm literally scrolling through something and I'm going off the purpose of why I'm there. I'll actually get a little thing of like, Chris, get back
Snap
to what
back
you
in
did.
it, yeah.
And I'm blessed that I do that now. For me, that's my application of the discipline that I'm trying to apply to what I'm doing and the lesson I'm trying to teach my children and my family, because I can only lead by example. But we don't all have, I'm not saying that I'm perfect or an angel or anything like that. There's still a lot of lessons I have to learn. But that's the whole, for me, a lot of these platforms are there. Everything in life for me is a test. It's all a test of how we can become the best versions of ourselves and learning from the previous mistakes we've made in the past. And all the examples that we've had are literally chapters of our lives that we can look back and take reference from and say, okay, in the past, I made a mistake. I watched porn. I did this. I was involved with these people. I allowed myself to be consumed.
And distracted.
Bro, by X, Y, and Z. Now that I know that, now that I have the awareness of it, it's now actually a choice that I'm going to go back and do that same thing again. And everything within my gut instinct, within my core, within the light that's dimming is telling me that that's the wrong thing to do, but I'm going to listen. Or I'm actually going to look back and think, do you know what, even though it felt good at the time, even though it was maybe short-term gratification or whatnot, this is the result that it got me. If I'm not happy with that result, why would I go and do that exact same thing again?
But there's self-reflection there, isn't there?
Self-reflection.
That's looking at, you know what, okay, that's not getting on yourself for making mistakes. That's realizing mistakes lead you to becoming a better version of yourself. Embracing that and saying, you know what can I learn from that?
Exactly.
Rather than, you know what, I've done that, getting on myself and potentially doing it again. Mistakes are to be learnt from, they're not to be repeated, right?
But the crazy thing is, obviously, even we're saying like, why would I do that again? But maybe you need to repeat the action to master it, to get good at it. So if you said that I didn't want to do something again because I got it wrong, or it was an accident, and then turn your back, you're never going to become an expert at something because you're not willing to keep testing yourself. If everything's a test, you're going to fail certain tests, or you're not going to be able to pass certain tests, and you're going to have to go back and redo it. But because you failed, you turn your back and say, I don't want to do it no more.
No, bro, you're right. It's a balance, though. I'm not actually saying...
No, I'm not saying, I'm just...
No, I hear what I agree with you. It's a balance. It's the same as anything else that we do in life, whether it's playing football, or you're just on high rocks, or jiu-jitsu, or whatever, or martial arts, or whatever it is that we're sort of getting involved with. Jiu-jitsu, prime example, I'll talk about what I know. It's like going training and getting my ass handed to me at training, getting wrapped up, getting submitted. And then me, I'm looking at it and thinking, oh, right, that's embarrassing. I can't do this. I can't actually... How can I come here?
You've been humbled. Yeah.
Or it's a case of, actually, do you know what? This guy submitted me in this particular way. This way that I thought I was good at. I've lost that competition. I've lost that round. Let me go back and look at the drawing boards again. Let me go back and assess what I did wrong in that role, and learning and then going back and trying to apply again, and then failing again in a different way. So learning in a different way. It's the same application, just transferable.
They say in school you have lessons and then you have the test, right? But in life, you have the test and then you learn the lesson.
Learn the lesson, and hopefully, I love that because I see myself as a student of life.
So Aaron, obviously during COVID lockdowns, you didn't see one of your child?
No, both of them for like 2 months. Because what I didn't want to do is I didn't want to see one and not see the other.
Yeah.
And that's just how I am as a parent. Like,
that's fair.
I feel like, it wouldn't feel right. So if I'm not going to see one of my children, you know what, let me take the hit.
Yeah.
Do they know that?
Yeah, they knew
beautiful.
that. But I think again, we spoke about privileges, but one of the things that made it easier is being able to FaceTime. Is being able to do things like that. Because in my head, I was like, imagine if this happened 50 years ago. Like,
pigeons.
Like, literally, all you might have had is a house phone, maybe. Like,
red letter phone.
How did that
Red
impact
letter,
you?
red
Obviously,
box.
even though you were able to communicate with them, go to see them, did it take a mental impact on you?
I think the biggest mental impact for me was Christmas. Although it had passed in terms of lockdown, well, we had like X amount of households. I can't remember. Can you remember how that first Christmas?
Bubble.
It was like you could only
bubbles?
have, I can't remember.
I can't remember. Was it like 2 people or something like that? Another bubble, one other household or something? Like that?
It was some sort of connection. But my rotation with my kids is 1 year they wake up with me, so I have them Christmas Eve. They wake up with me on Christmas Day, and then they go back to their mums at night time on Christmas Day. And Amari, his mum's boyfriend, was tested for COVID on Christmas Eve or the day before Christmas Eve, and had to wait for the results. Yeah. And they weren't coming anytime soon.
Back
so I didn't. That was one Christmas where I didn't get to see Amari. So I had Tyler, and I didn't have Amari, and that was where I felt bad for myself, but I felt bad for the boys because they've always been together for Christmas.
I was about to say that because you actually made that cut in the back in the stand where it's like, I don't have you in this, I have both. And you actually had to make that decision. I'm going to take one.
I'm going to take one. And it was, for the frustration for me was, it was another man's family, because it was Amari's mum's partner's family side, which is why he needed to get tested or something like that. And it was like, I guess watching and thinking, oh, you lot are connecting to too many people. So that's probably why this has happened. But knowing you can't control what goes on in another household, especially in co-parenting.
So how do you, in co-parenting, how do you control that emotion about where your child's going in regards to their new family, the new family and the other family, you know, like the 2 new families that are involved?
Yeah, for me, it's just, I've come to a place where I've accepted, and this is what I talk to all the men about as well, is accepting that you can't control how other people act. You can only control how you react and interact.
Or if you choose to react.
Yeah, with those people. And it's knowing, what can I control? What can I do? If I spend so much time focusing on what the other house is doing, I'm probably taking my eyes off my children. And that's what I'm there for. I'm there to focus on my children. So it's respecting that whatever happens in that household, it's their business. What happens in my household is my business. And I think we struggle sometimes to accept that as co-parents. We want to almost have a say as to what goes on in the other house.
It's not putting the child first. And that's the whole purpose of with the co-parenting podcast, not going away from the COVID. But it's a case of putting the child first.
Yeah.
Putting your ego, putting our own egos aside. It's not about us.
I mean, it's not. Like, there's an element of both parents need to make sure that their mental well-being's in place. But it's not, from the man's point of view, it's not about the mum isn't your focus. The child is. Because if we're looking at that door, we can't see what's going on over there. And if our child's over there, that's where we need to be paying attention.
I was talking to a gentleman the other day. To be fair, I'll introduce him to you because your service will probably say he come home and the child's gone, mum's gone, all the clothing's gone. And this was literally on Tuesday. He called me. I was like, Thomas, what should I do? I was like,
well, so they live together, yeah?
They did live together. I was like, bro, first thing you need to do is call the police. 4 days, it's been 4 days now. So he's called me 4 days after it's happened. She hasn't attended school, hasn't allowed the child to speak to the dad. So that, bro, you need to call the police and report a missing child. Action it, because if she's not answering your calls, you don't know your child's safety.
100%. Yeah.
But then he's decided to do the big man thing. Went over to the mum's yard, innit, and like, yeah, they set the dog after him. He's knocked out the dog. The stepdad's threatening to kill him and everything like that. Bro, if you're listening, sorry for all of this and that, but yeah. And he's
So when you say the mum's house, you mean grandma's house?
the grandma's house,
Grandma's
innit? Because he's like, she must be there. So now he's called a big scene. I was like, bro, never should have done that. That's escalated it. Now they're going to call the police on you. They're going to get a molestation order against you. That's going to look so bad for you. Your first action is call the police for the safety of your child, then call the solicitor. The moment you start acting, because like you're saying, the moment you start trying to control her house, you're in a losing field, because you're just going to go crazy. You can't control someone else's house.
But it's that, I guess from the man's point of view, there's an ego element as well. It's feeling like, oh, but they've taken a piss, or you know what, but they've violated me, or how could they? And I think we need to get off that mindset. Sometimes we're always like, you know what, if they would just do this, if they would just do that, if they would have just been like this, like our answer's the right way, like how we want to be is the right way.
Yeah.
Everyone
Thinks they're right.
Everyone thinks they're right.
Bro, I say it all the time, so Tom knows I love this. 4 agreements.
The book.
The book.
Yeah.
4 agreements. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions or never make assumptions. Always do your best.
Yeah, I love them. I love all the pillars. I just think they're very hard to live by.
It sounds simple though.
It sounds so
It
simple.
sounds simple.
Very so hard.
They're simple, but they're difficult.
Almost impossible. We've been in conversations and without knowing it directly, we've made assumptions about what someone else is thinking, doing, and whatever. But we're just having generally, and I personally can't take things not personally. Yeah. Like you're gonna say something to me, like I might not react back to you. I'm gonna be frustrated inside, and it's gonna cause a reaction later on down the line about something. Even if I said to you, I'm not taking that personally. So they are very good laws to live by, but they're very, very hard, almost for me personally, impossible to live by, because I know in conversations, I've tried to assume what someone else is thinking. Even by not assuming what they're assuming they're thinking, I'm assuming what you're thinking.
Yeah.
But it's operating within them as guidelines. It's not saying that they're the law, or it's not saying that it's...
Being mindful, isn't it?
Being
mindful of them as you're going through life. Yeah.
Exactly.
No, we should always understand that. Have you spoke to many fathers in regards to reintroducing them to their how they introduce themselves to their children after COVID? Like some people didn't see their children for 2 years, coming from different places, or in general, fathers being reintroduced to their children.
It's more like you have men that haven't seen their children for a while, full stop. I mean, within co-parenting, you got to think about it. Sometimes there's the battle of, well, you're not paying, so I'm not letting you see your child, or you've cheated on me, so I'm not letting you see your child. There's a number of reasons why someone could be prevented, and then finally gets that connection with their child. I think it's just about releasing sometimes. If time has been lost, it's been lost. You're not getting it back. But what you can now do is create some amazing memories. And I think we have to focus on that. What can we do? Like, as fathers, as men, what can we do? Rather than, what could we have done? Oh, you know what, I missed out on this. And
hanging on to that
like,
attachment.
now your energy's off. Like, you need to be, and I always say, I know you said it's not about the parents, but we have to make sure we're good so that we can give more to our children.
Yeah.
And I think it's just being mindful of that. As men, like, your transformation's been amazing, and I'm sure that's helped you have more energy for your kids.
I think a lot of the time we forget how important it is to concentrate on ourselves to be better. Like obviously I said that I'm not saying I don't agree with the 4 pillars, but if we're trying to be better by working with our 4 pillars on ourselves, by not reacting to what someone else is doing in someone else's different house, that can only be better for ourselves long term, innit? Especially as a father that's made tons of mistakes. I know that I don't worry about what I did. I look forward in how I can make myself better each time. So that mistake that I did in the past in regards to XYZ, I'm not saying it won't happen again, but I know the mistakes that led up to it, so I'm going to try not to do it again. To be fair, that's the only reason why I got married, because I knew I was in the right frame of mind that not to make the mistakes when I was younger, when it comes to other women. Like, if I can't commit to that, and this is why I believe marriage is important, if you can't commit to if you can't commit to someone, you shouldn't sleep with them. You should keep your thing in your trousers, because that might make a baby. And it's hard.
Yeah,
It's almost like the
that's
four
a whole
pillars.
nother podcast.
It's almost like the 4 pillars.
Thank
Like,
you,
don't
bro.
get me
Whole
wrong.
nother- I'm
twisted.
saying that's
Bro,
a whole.
clocks were ticking,
I don't
bro.
even want to
Clocks
jump
ticking,
into
bro.
that
Bro,
because that's
I'm
a.
just
Have we got enough
We
time?
ain't
on
got
that
time
one?
for
Right
that.
there.
Bro, I'm just saying, innit? Like,
that is-
keep that in your trousers. Ladies, keep your knickers on. And don't do nothing until they
What the
ask you to marry
celibacy?
them. What?
What the celibacy?
What the celibacy? I'm not saying I'm going to live by it. Well, I'm married. I can do what I want now. How about that? You lot stay celibate.
Bro, it's another conversation altogether. Tom was just on a tangent.
Bro, I like to start tangents.
So, Aaron, what would you say, so in regards to vaccine, what would you say you found the most challenging aspect in regards to vaccine with families and obviously your children and co-parenting?
You know, I didn't feel like there was a challenge to it. I just felt like the noise around it was there was so much noise. Like, have you been vaccinated? You haven't been vaccinated. The judgment that came with that. Like when you first asked me at the start, I was like, "What are you gonna tell me? You've been vaccinated?"
Yeah, man.
But it's still a thing now.
It's 10 boosters, man.
It's still a thing now, and that's when it was like my mum got it, and she got quite ill from it, and then there was the fact of, because she got so ill from it, she was like, I'm not having the boosters. So then in my head, I was like, well, there was no point in you having it to start with.
Why did you have it to start with?
Because I think it was more of a fear of getting it. So it was like, you know what?
That generation.
And her sister had the vaccine as well. And it was like, it almost felt like people were being pushed into it.
Bro. And is that a cultural thing, do you think? Or is that
To be fair, I'd probably say I would go to my barbers and have conversations there, and it was like very heavily against.
Did you
like,
just say something about when you said about barbers?
Yeah, it was like very heavily against. Now we're not like most people in black barbershops weren't really standing up saying, "Yeah, I'm having it." You know,
They were more anti.
It was more anti. It was
Keep
conspiracies. It was a lot, and I think that's the thing as well. The conspiracies that were coming out with it.
It was a lot. For me personally, I'd never any intention to get it before they even said there was a vaccine.
Do you think there was anything that they could have said that would have made you get it?
Bro, we were going to ask you that question.
Everything, right? What could have made me?
Aaron came prepared.
What could have made me get the vaccination?
Bow and arrow.
Yeah, it would have been. I wouldn't have been able to see my child again or something like that. That's the only thing that could have got me. And even then, I don't like my daughter that much anyway. No, I'm
Social
joking.
services.
I'm joking.
45 child group.
Yeah.
So even anything to do with business, work.
Bro, yeah, sorry. I go back. I run childcare business. I was on the verge of getting it. I actually was on the verge of getting it because they were pushing it. I kept on telling the schools, I got it. Of course I got it. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
I'll be real. On a real, I think Tom at the point where over lockdown, when Tom actually said he was actually considering it just because of the school thing.
Yeah, they kept on asking.
That's when reality for me. Actually, my parents got it.
I was about to force all my staff to do it too.
Literally,
like everybody was gonna have to do it, and then it's like
that's reality.
2 days later, I was like, "What happened to the vaccine? No one cares no more. No one's asking no questions." But yeah, I was on the verge of like, I'm gonna have to do this.
What about yourself?
For me? No. Like, the only thing, I love going to America. Like, I love New York. And it was crazy because February before it happened, I'd just come back from New York. And there was the feeling of, may I never be able to go there again? And if I can't do the things that I love doing, maybe I'll get it at some point. But I was very much, if I'm ever going to get it, I'm going to get it further down the line. Once I've seen the reaction of, let me see the guinea pigs go first.
This is it, bro.
And then from there, I then make an informed decision.
No, I hear that. And for the people, once again, for the people that you see and that you engage with in regards to like co-parenting and even the youth.
The youth, because I was working with a lot of through
young
you.
people,
I was working with a lot of young people. I started to get a bit worried when they started dropping the age for where it was like, I felt like, all right, you're getting closer to my son's age now. But knowing that his mum was against it,
it was cool
as well. So yeah, I think there was comfort in that, knowing that although we're in different households, our opinions on the vaccine are the same.
It made it a lot easier.
It made it a lot easier.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, cool.
See if vaccine stages, yeah, where they're saying that everyone has to have a COVID test.
Yeah.
How did you feel about actually giving your child a COVID test? Because I'm only asking because when my daughter got ill, say like she had a normal common cold, you know your child's going to be off for a couple days or a day or something. But before they go back, they have to, now because of the COVID at that time, you have to isolate for 10 days. So that's 10 days of school. And then then they might even send you a cheeky letter saying your kid hasn't attended school for this period of time.
Do you know my opinion, quick one, right? Yeah. Now COVID's over. I never did a COVID test, and none of my children have ever done a COVID test, and nor will they ever do a COVID test. So if they're ill, they don't go to school. You go to school when you're not ill no more. I don't care what the school's got to say. And I told the school that I'd done a COVID test. Oh, did you? Nah, man, they could go and pass COVID around. Herd immunity.
No, but it was like they forced you into that. The schools forced you into that.
Yeah, 100%.
It's that pressure, so we literally.
Wasn't there testing at school at some point? Wasn't
Nah, they tried to inject Trey, but Trey's not on it because he's scared of injections. Like called home straight away. They're trying to jab me. Yeah, they're trying to jab me. Like, bro, your mum ain't give no one no permission to put no jab in you. Just say no.
The vaccine?
The vaccine?
Yeah, the vaccine. Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they tried to say.
What, without consent?
Everyone had given consent, but the school said that his mum had given consent. But Trey's scared and knows that he's not getting no vaccine. So he just called home and was like, nah, yeah, bro, you ain't getting vaccinated. Like, your mum ain't doing that. Yeah, there's no way you're getting vaccinated.
So Trey's mum was okay for him to get vaccinated?
Nah, she ain't about that. Like, she ain't been vaccinated.
So it wasn't...
So the school had just said that he had been given permission to get the vaccination.
And you put a stop to it there and then?
Yeah, because like, bro, like, he put a stop to it because he's scared of needles. Like, get vaccinated.
So there's a cohort then of children that were in the same position as Trey,
that potentially
but potentially did go and get that vaccine because of that pressure, and are now seeing the outcome of those decisions that they literally were pressured into.
Yeah, potentially.
That's it. Wow, I actually didn't know that. That's kind of wild.
They tried to jab him, bro. They tried to jab him, and he's like, nah, not me, mate.
And then listening to Pfizer afterwards, I've mentioned Pfizer in the last conversation about what they've literally come out and openly admitted.
Oh, they gave a statement, didn't they? I'm sure they gave a statement.
I think.
What was they saying though? They admitted that.
Wasn't it unethical testing or something?
Yeah, and haven't they said that a majority of the deaths now are people that have been vaccinated?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm about to read that after this because that'd be very interesting because how do you even justify that?
Yeah, there was something about the percentage or the majority of deaths are quite high in the field of people that have been vaccinated.
For vaccination?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Aaron, the topic's changing slightly. So
Yeah.
I think we should definitely end the podcast as it here. Is there anything you want to add on to it?
Or ask as well. Since you're asking questions.
Since it's his show.
Man in the centrefold.
No, you mentioned not seeing your child for however long. How did you integrate back into that? What did you kind of do during those early moments? I'm going to see my child now.
I'm kind of relaxed, so I take everything as it is. So, I'm kind of relaxed. I take everything as it is and how it is, so you can't stress me out. If Mum says that and Selena's saying that, it is what it is, it's life. What I can see her now, get your stuff ready, I'm coming to get you. Like, obviously, I deal with you in a call, phone her, kept making sure she was all right. If she ever needed anything, I just send it via, which is mad, Uber Eats, because then you're getting COVID and all the shit that they're sending you anyway. But yeah, I'm very relaxed with how things are. Like what you said, I don't try and control things out of my control. Even my daughter now, like, she's going to be 16. I'm not trying to control her. Like, if you listen to me, you listen to me, but hopefully you understand the consequences of not listening to me. So I'm not going to stress myself out over not being able to do it if that's the decision.
So let me ask you a question. Do you feel you were still able to parent without seeing your child?
Yeah.
And how would you?
How would I do that?
Yeah.
Conversation, being a leader, letting her see how I live my life. Making sure she's supported and feels supported as much as she can. I can't tell you how she feels. I can only offer the support that I feel is necessary for her to feel that way. So just by being there, by constantly acknowledging her, sending her morning text messages, making sure she feels part of the family, even though she's not in the house, because that's a stress that I deal with, which is obviously I have children in my house. She's out of my house. do you still feel that I'm offering you the same? Because I believe in equity. So I believe that she should feel the same with a different set of resources compared to the children in my house. You get me as a person all day, every day. So does she still feel that way? I know at a 15-year-old, you're not going to have that conversation with me. So it's down to me to see how she acts, how she responds. Does she take 2 days? Has she changed how she reacts to me? When I call her mum and talk to her mum about issues, how does her mum react to me? What's going on? Does her mum call me when there's an issue and say, Thomas, you need to talk to her? So just little things, just learning, like, I can't be there all the time, but I can just do my best. Yeah. And that's all I try to do with anything that I do, bro.
For agreement, just throwing that out there.
Sorry, I did waffle on there a little bit, so sorry.
One more question to both of you. What are 2 things, if I asked your children, like, give me 2 things you love about Dad, what do you think they'd say?
One that happened on Saturday was my daughter. She said, I made her proud. Almost got me emotional there, trust me. Right? And that's because of the effort I put into what we was doing at the High Rocks. Like, I'm not telling her to be fit. I'm not telling her to lose weight. I'm not telling her to read books. If I want her to read a book, I'm going to read a book. If I want her to be fit, just look at me run. Like, with Trey, like, Trey is obviously 16. I remember at a point, like, he loves his little head movement. I was like, bro, don't do that to me. When you're 18, we'll fight. Like, well, I'm not here to play games. Like, if you want to box and you're going to come in front of me and do that shit, 18 years old, let's get into a ring. So I got 3 years to train.
I'm just about to say, he's just trying to buy time for himself, right?
100%. Because he's probably punching me up now. I need 3 years to work on it, innit? But I'm just saying, like, so anything that I want my children to do, I have to be that example. And hopefully, that's number one, is they see me that I lead by example.
Yeah.
Number 2, I think I'm very understanding. I made a lot of mistakes in my life, so I understand that I make mistakes as well, bro. It's just what it is.
What about you?
I'll do my child. Ladies first, I'll say Ava. I would like to think she would say that I'm loving, and in a way of, even from an 8-year-old, being unconditionally loving. As in, I don't think a minute goes by when we're around where we're both whispering to each other or saying to each other, I love you, Daddy, I love you more, I love you more, I love you more, I love you 3,000, no, that's not enough, like, you know?
Yeah.
And similar to Tom, we involve our children in every aspect of everything we do. From the food banks we're running, our children were there with us. From every school that I coach in, my children are coming to me. I do my school runs, and my children are come to the MMA club, New Wave Academy, where I coach. So they actually see not only the business side of what I'm doing, but the emotional engagement, with the relationships with my lady, their mum. They see their interaction. So I would hope for my daughter to consider that she's seen love. She's seen the love that I have for my lady, the love that I have for her and her brother, unconditional love that I have for my siblings, and the vulnerability that I show, that there's no such thing as right or wrong. We just try and do the best that we can. Some people are going to get on, some people don't. So hopefully, short answer or long answer short, it will be from my daughter, hopefully love. And from my son, Ethan, different kettle of fish, 14-year-old. Ava's 8 going on 28, Ethan's 14, thinks he needs 5. Like, boys being boys. Ethan, I would hope to think he would say courage and bravery, like not being afraid of. I think Ethan sees that I'm not afraid of anything. The only thing that I'm afraid of is myself and my lack of discipline within myself and me losing control. So hopefully, if one would say he sees that brave side of just embracing the unknown, go walking into your fear. If it's fear of you quitting a job, if it's a fear of you saying no to something, fear of you setting up boundaries. And hopefully that's the element that Ethan came on the camp we did over summer, took 16 boys camping, Ethan came on there, saw the engagement we had in the activity. So hopefully seeing the sort of aspirational and the love of yourself.
I love that. I know one of the pillars is don't assume, right? And I know technically you've both made assumptions as to what your kids would love about you. But I think it'll be interesting when you get the chance, ask your kids that. Because I think sometimes we go through life thinking these are the things that they love about me. So you do more of those things when in reality our children are screaming out for something else. I just love it when you sit with me, Dad, and read a book. Where I didn't even know that.
I love it.
I thought you loved it when I was running, doing training, doing all of this stuff.
I don't need to do that shit.
So I don't, yeah.
Doing it for the wrong reason.
I've lost all this weight for no reason.
No, I was enjoying it, that shit.
But it's true, sometimes what we think our children love about us isn't what they actually love, and it's something so small.
What do your children love about you?
Boy, I don't want to assume.
Yeah, I was about to say, you can't answer that after
Trick
you said
question,
that,
yeah, I
you know. Kristen is assuming that. Aaron, pleasure, my bro.
I appreciate
Aaron,
it.
bro.
Appreciate you.
Blessings, bro. Look, what the co-parenting, that's going to be the more, I think, related podcast.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're gonna have to recruit you back for that as
Yeah,
well.
whatever you need. Just
Yeah.
let me know.